Our meeting is called to order. This is the Bay Oaks Recreational Campus Advisory Board, commonly known as BORCAB. It is Tuesday, September 1st, 2020 at 9 a.m. The Republic for which it stands, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, for the benefit of our transcriber, let's go through and give our names. I'm Betty Simpson.
Becky Bodner.
Lee Malsick.
Barbara Hill.
Okay, and we have two members that are going to try to join us by phone.
You're not answering, Betty, so.
Okay, Jenna and Karen. So, all right, at this time, well, I had a question for us on the August 4th minutes. We've received all of those. I noticed that it says a motion and a vote. Do we want to know who those were? All that space, or is that? We've got the information. Barbara Hill made the motion on July 7th, and Karen Woodson seconded. On the July 13th, it was Barbara and Lee Melsick, the second. Okay. And also on the next page, I just had a comment. And here again, it was Rick Lowry. We didn't have a last name on that. Okay. All right,
How do you spell his last name? Lowry?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And isn't he involved with the Little League? I mean, in
Yes.
some official capacity?
Soccer he was involved with.
Okay, soccer.
Okay. All right. I'd entertain a motion for approval of those August 4th minutes.
I so move with the amendments.
Okay. Motion by Barbara. Do I have a second?
Second, Becky.
Becky? A second? Pardon? No. Are there any comments? Holy cow, I went right over that public comment. Well, can we have public comment after the minutes? Is that okay? All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in approval, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, those passes. Thank you. Now let's have public comment. Hearing nothing at this time, let's move on to item 4, items for discussion, the department update. And we had a wonderful update.
Over there. I do want to add a little bit to that. Staff has done just a fantastic job with summer camp.
Yeah, I got spare charges.
Schedule. Thank you. And we're moving right along. So we are not expanding any additional hours for the weight room right now. With our new program of Club Rec, we want to make sure that that is successful. And then with the pool opening, so at the next meeting, we will hopefully be able to report that the pool is open. We've got our guidelines in place. We're excited to be able to do that.
Are you still thinking about the end of this month?
Yes, so it really depends on the pool will be finished, I think it's September 12th is their deadline, and they will be able to complete that. However, we still have to get the chemicals and also get the Lee County Health Department to okay the inspection for us to reopen. There's a few other things, but they're all ready and set to come out, so hopefully there won't be a huge delay. But that's why we said probably the end of September, because we really don't know when we'll be able to get our inspection certificate.
You have staff available to conduct the classes and all of that's in order?
Actually, just today, we had someone reach out offering to host classes this morning. So we do have current staff that are able to perform the classes, and then we're seeking outsiders that are interested in hosting classes as well. We're excited.
With Aaron not there, but
She's okay. She survived the hurricane.
yes. Yeah, I'm Facebook friends with her. It's great that she got through that with no problem.
Do you have any idea when classes will resume and other activities?
No, we don't, Becky. I really wish that I could say, even when the aquatic, we're ready to offer those. It just depends on what happens with the pandemic. It's an unknown, and I'm sorry to say that, but it's.
I know.
We are all ready for when we do get to the go-ahead, so we just don't know when that's going to.
The statistics are looking better every day, according to the news.
Yes,
That is good
Right? Have
news,
you noticed
yes.
that, Betty?
indeed, yes,
Depends on who reports it.
yeah. Yeah.
We will for sure let you all know as soon as we're moving in that direction. We'll take it slow and easy. Any other questions about the report?
Did you get the safety release button installed yet?
Yes.
Yes. There, and so the way that works is that there's a small button that's next to the cash register. So when the doors are closed, that button, you have to press it to open the doors into the main gymnasium.
Very
It's a
good.
safety measure.
That's all I had. Anything else?
Did you,
Great.
last time I wasn't here, did you discuss the letter from the Little League at all? What people thought about that? Letter from Shannon Orlandini. Did that come up during the meeting?
It did not.
I don't believe so.
No, it did not.
That was sent to you all as well as all the council members.
I wondered what people thought about that. I was pretty surprised myself.
It was very strange. Nobody actually made an issue of it or commented.
Well, they were represented in our stakeholder meeting, and I didn't think there was anything new that they did not represent at that one meeting. So I thought it was pretty in line with the input that the consultants gathered from
Patrick Vaness.
Patrick.
Rick and Charlie Whitehead were here for the last meeting as well and had
Yes.
some comments. Any of their concerns, we addressed that at the meeting.
So, did you get the idea that they were very supportive of the development? Because this letter says, okay, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
I thought that they were very supportive. Every group that I've talked to is very excited about, the plan. So, and Becky, if you weren't here at this meeting, you know that you can go to the town's YouTube channel and you can rewatch the meeting anytime. So that's the wonderful thing now about the YouTube.
Oh, our meetings?
Yes, your meeting right now is streaming over the internet, and Karen and Jana can follow along. And you can watch it anytime, which is really great because you might want to watch back if you missed a meeting or you want to
Exactly.
review what
It
was
really is
said.
good.
So it's a really great. If you have questions, we can show you exactly how to get
Okay,
view
good.
that. Mhm.
I sense that, well, I think that the cost of this is beginning to become a topic of conversation. It's been mentioned several times by
Save that for board.
people who have come here.
You can address the redevelopment during board member items?
Yeah.
If you're okay with that, Lee, just to try to stay
Yeah.
on the agenda.
So that's all that we have for the director's report, unless you all have any more questions.
It was a great report,
Thank you.
very good.
I just want to thank the staff for keeping things under control, given the fact that it's very difficult to control a coronavirus situation, but you're being very proactive and also being very conservative in terms of the extent to which you can operate the programs that you can safely, while still looking at, what's going to be happening when things calm down and we can get programs active again. So thank you for that, both of you.
It's done. I agree, done a great job.
Okay. There are no other questions on the department report. Let's go on to the strategic plan update.
So this is the first update due to COVID. We were a little later than our 6-month, what we normally do, semi-annual for that. So I wanted you all to go through, and this is a document that changes. We always do target dates, but due to COVID and different things that were just beyond our control, some things were a little bit delayed. But for the most part, I feel that due to, even though with the pandemic going on, we have really made a lot of progress. So kudos to BORCAB and everybody involved and staff in order to get these really difficult, some of these really difficult items moving forward. So pleased to announce a lot of the deadlines that have to do with the redevelopment are on there. The team has done just a great job. And then you can see in the comments some of the, what was accomplished and due to COVID, what we're hoping to do. Now, this does change. So even though I have a date, set in 6 months, if something does happen, that might change it slightly. But it is a great way to kind of track what the progress that we are making. So if you all have any questions about anything in here, I'll be glad to answer it for you too. And then we'll, another 6 months, we'll schedule to do another update so you can also see the progress.
It was nice to have some dates connected with regard to the school board.
Yes, that is all moving forward. They're very excited and supportive.
Yes.
And all of that will be completed here in a couple of weeks, officially.
Good, because we of course have talked about it, but you actually needed them to be here and to follow up on that. So I was delighted to see the specific dates
Yes.
in our progress report area on the community partnership.
So from what I see on the strategic plan in terms of our progress for long-term goals for the redevelopment of Bay Oaks, I see that right now, in terms of what BORCAB has done the last couple of years and, working on establishing that vision, it is now in the hands of the council and the planner. And so that redevelopment plan design is in process.
That's correct. So their 30% design completion will be September 30th, and then they will move on. They will get approval from council to go to 100%.
And I see that the date would be 2023 for this goal to be achieved.
That's a rough
after
estimate.
phase 1. I'm sorry,
It's a
thinking
rough estimate.
very proactively.
100% of what?
The design for all the details of the development. They
cost, of the
approved.
cost.
Yes, it will have everything, Lee. So they're at 30% right now. They're completing that at the end of September. In October, they will go back to council for the
At what
STA.
point was the public to grasp on the cost of this?
They will be presenting that to council, just like they did the 30%. So each milestone, they have the public forum and they present it to the council, so it will be
At what
before
point does the
council.
cost cutting begin?
But we won't know that until they get through
Further along,
that design plateau.
Sorry.
They're working on the cost now.
Right.
They have estimated, they know their budget, and so they are working on making that work. Out of all the things that were recommended, our programming is very important, that we can meet the needs of our program that we're not able to meet. So we're actually working on that now.
And at what point does this advisory board become involved in recommending cuts, what to cut?
I guess that's a council decision, not ours. What we've
Well,
done,
I disagree. Well, I
Barbara-
understand it's their decision,
there's just.
but I
their
don't
decision.
think, I don't think we necessarily have to be cut out of the advisory.
No,
Element of-
Barbara was there at the last meeting answering questions. BORCAB will always be present there, and I will always make sure that you know to do that. And Barbara said, I don't know if I should be there, and I said, yes, you do need to be there. So anything of discussion like that, I will make sure that BORCAB knows and a representative is there to be able to answer questions. She was represented at that council meeting when they were going over those
And I
early
gave a
designs.
report.
You
I
did.
gave them specifically what it
Yes.
was that we have been working on for 2
So
years.
BORCAB was very much presently, and Barbara did a great job. Betty knew about.
That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, at what point does this board discuss, make recommendations on what we believe can and should be cut to reduce costs? When it comes to that.
When I get direction, I'll definitely bring it to you. I don't know
We'll
when
have
that's
that, we
going to
can
be.
have that as an agenda item.
Yes.
Right.
I don't know when that's going to be, Lee. The design is early stages. I just don't have that planned out.
And I think the land planner has direction from BORCAB already with regard to what rooms we wanted, what programs we wanted. Now the question is, in what part of those buildings will those
Right.
activities take
Right.
place?
Right.
And they're kind of in that.
They're in that early
phase right
stages,
now.
yes.
So we can't really talk about costs until they come back to us and say, okay, this is how we've configured it.
Correct. And that
Then we
will-
can have the conversation.
That's right. It needs to come down on not the 30%, but the next phase for sure. So it's kind of a weird time right now, because it's like, when is that information going to be? But it'll be the next for sure. So Lee, I'll let BORCAB and you all know as soon as that I get direction for that, for sure. It's not available right now.
I understand Lee's concern
Mm-hmm.
because there's a lot of information out there, some of it accurate, some of it not, some of it old, some of it, just a rough estimate. So, and we can't make that determination either yet, nor can council.
Right.
Once we get a better idea of just exactly what it is that the buildings will hold and how much that will cost, is the time that we can really be very active again in
Exactly.
continuing that
Yes.
conversation and offering
Absolutely.
recommendations.
I
to
just
council.
don't have that date right now, but I promise to keep you all posted on when it.
We also, though, we haven't heard much, if anything, from the public. And I understand we've heard from a few people from the public, but not the public. And I don't know if we're going to.
Well, Lee, I mean, as BORCAB advocates of this project, I would hope that you would be asking your neighbors and your public. That's the wonderful thing about being advisory, is you all get to be advocates for this and talk to people.
And talk to council.
Absolutely. So we do have that email, Lee, and we have had several really good, but, it's just an ongoing, but I do know that the communications officer is hard to, getting the word out about people getting feedback and things. But, hopefully you all are out there in the community asking people what they think, so we can.
Is there a budget figure out there somewhere? You're saying 30% of the budget. What is the budget
Well, that's the
figure?
design, Becky. So that's the planning design. That's that 30% of the design.
Of the design, but there's,
It's the phase, yeah.
you haven't talked about money, actual money. Because it seems like we're going backwards to me if you, You put everything that you want into this, into the recreation
I think
center.
that we're going forward, so I don't want us to backslide off of the topic of the strategic plan. I will let you all know exactly when we find out anything. If you have specific questions under board member items, let me capture that for you, and so I can get back to you on that.
Do we want to put anything in with regard to the Friends of Bay Oaks in terms of a strategic planning effort, simply because, they were involved at one point, now I think it's like
They're in
very
here.
inactive?
The Friends of Bay Oaks is in here.
Okay.
Friends
and
of Bay Oaks is in
so
here.
are
Yeah.
they, I'm trying to, can you tell me what page they're on? I'm sorry.
No, they're in here,
No, I saw it too.
I saw it too.
too.
And it's Denise, right? That's,
He is currently the president. Yeah, it's on page 4 of 9, work with the Friends of Bay
4,
Oaks, the
okay,
role
great.
and expectations of the group.
yes.
Well, I said for her to present every 6 months. I think due to the pandemic, there may not have been a lot on, but a regular update from her and the group would be very beneficial.
So that really didn't, that's not really just your responsibility, that should be both of you, both director and the president of BORCAB,
Yeah,
Friends.
I'm really the one to help bring that together,
Okay.
to reach out and.
Because I think there was a concern for the future with regard to what kind of mechanism for fundraising activities that would be best implemented through Friends.
Exactly.
And I can ask Denise to come for her goal and her plan, and I'll work with her to schedule that and see when it.
I think such a wonderful example of how successful that can be is to look at Friends of the Mount House and what they've been able to accomplish over the last few years in terms of playing a very active role in augmenting the income, the revenue for the Mount House. We were hoping that maybe Friends of Bay Oaks would be interested in doing the same.
According to Ms. Monahan, Friends of Bay Oaks, much needs to be rebuilt. But he left, she said.
I think they
Hardly
started
anybody.
out,
Exactly.
So, I don't know, maybe we need to assist her in that.
and I think that when the Friends of Bay Oaks first started out, they were kind of gangbusters. They were eager to meet, and several of us met with them, even though we weren't really, we were a part of it, and yet we were really spectators, and but definitely interested in what they were going to be able to do and how we could help with them and give them some input so that it would be going toward that same basket, so that we all knew what our goal was going to be. And of course, that's what we've been trying to follow here with our plan.
Well, I'd like to have her come back before us, and I'd like to find out from her what the problem was. There's a
I'll
problem.
schedule her, Lee, and see when she can come to a meeting.
I'd like to
Okay.
pick her brain about several things. There was obviously a problem, and I know where it was, but I'd like her to tell us.
Good.
Did the hard work of getting the,
Getting it started.
yeah,
Fine
Yes.
for the
And the legal
paperwork.
stuff.
Yes,
503,
right,
501c3. She did the hard
501c3.
work. And then something happened, but in the beginning, she did want to know from the advisory board what projects they could help us with and how they could spend money on things that were needed.
we'll bring
In the
her
beginning,
back.
yes.
Yeah, we'll
A
bring
lot of
her back, yeah.
enthusiasm.
Exactly. Well, and I think that we all realize that when Allison gets more information at any time, even though we aren't scheduled now for another month to get together, if you get information that you feel that we should have, we can always have a called meeting. And
Bet,
if
Betty.
it's something that you need
Yes,
some input on.
I'm not shy about reaching out.
No, I know you,
This is very
I
true.
know how to do that.
yep. So always look forward to getting your comments on those things. So is there anything else on the strategic plan? It kind of lets us
Yeah,
know as
yeah.
we go through it.
Allison,
Yes, Lee?
have you heard anything as an insider on any offers of naming rights? Anybody talk to any council people or manager regarding maybe somebody willing to put up money for naming rights?
Well, actually, that was brought up at the council meeting. Lee, did you watch the YouTube
No, I
video?
couldn't be there. I couldn't be there.
Well, because they did, I think it was Jim Adderholt that actually suggested that we look at outside funding. So the conversation was approached, really nothing more than that.
It was started, the conversation was,
Okay, so no one so far has offered, you know of.
not that I know of, no, Lee.
You would know.
Would hope.
I think one building is a little more
Design is more,
developed in terms of what it will look like, what it's going to hold, what it's, where it's going to be specifically. Then I think there can be that conversation, but I think right now it's just too early to inspire funders of any kind.
Well, that's not my track. That's not my track.
Not
Okay.
your job?
I'm not in favor of that. Okay, so and I'm putting it out there, okay? I don't favor that. I don't favor naming rights. So, where I'm coming from, that's it.
You bet.
But I'm curious as to anybody knows.
Very good. Okay, anything else on the strategic plan? Okay, now, I noticed that in our minutes from the last meeting, it was suggested by Lee that we add parking to our BORCAB's next agenda,
okay?
and we did not do that. Is that something that we could still discuss?
Under board member items, if Lee wants to bring that up, we can
Right.
definitely discuss.
So, but Lee had brought it up, and so I thought it was important for us to get it on there. So, under board member items, we will talk about parking. All right. There isn't anything else on that, and we still don't have any public comment at this time, unless somebody would like to say something. And if not, we will move on to the board member items. And Lee, let's call on you for parking. That was something that you had brought up at our last meeting.
Allison, what is, in the current plan, how many spaces?
300.
Yeah, it ranges.
I thought I heard maybe less from Paul.
Well, I mean, it depends on locations, but they were going for
We're not there.
30%. It'll become very clear on the maximum amount when they get further along in the plan.
And I think the understanding was that, once the facility is built, that we develop these and nurture these relationships with the church and with the school and with the library, so that in the evenings, if we're having an evening event, that those parking spaces can be utilized as well. So that would add to the 300.
Right. You do know parking is a number one priority to increase.
Well,
have
it's certainly,
events.
it's certainly a priority, for one, but it certainly is a priority. I'm looking at it as a negotiating element, I guess. When push comes to shove 2 months from 3 months from now, and we start decisions begin to be made about what to build and not to build, and where to put something and where not to put something, which we've already heard from a few members of the public on the ball fields. Any parking spaces, this 300 spaces that were planned may get changed. Maybe a good thing, but just have a feeling that the parking locations are going to become a discussion point. And be wrong, but I think there's going to be some fucking and jiving going on about where things go, and if we're not going to have this building or that space filled, then, or we have to fill this space, then parking they start all over again. I don't know, but I don't know if it's wise to identify right now parking places. I don't think he's done that, has he?
It's been a priority. That was one of the early on is the facilities were not near parking spaces and we didn't have adequate parking. That was an early on wish list of a little thing to make sure to check off. So I will make sure that, and you all will know this as well, that they understand the need for parking. And I think that throughout the presentations that they've done really good with that. And that's something that is to watch, Lee, because we really need to make sure that we have parking that is closer to our, or accessible to our program participants.
But they haven't really identified.
Not well, because the design, things keep moving around. That's kind of where that 60%, once they finish the 30, then those will be things that will be more clear.
Right.
And I think there was the understanding there could be some parallel parking along the fitness trail, too, for events.
I think they're being
the
very
grassy
creative
area.
with where it could go, because that's other facilities. Marco has that. So they have, and it's a good use when you need.
It just seems to me that there is, and I'm getting back to that old bugaboo again about how much land there really is back there.
Interlocal agreement will have all the title and everything, and Chelsea is working
and
now.
I-
Surveys are being done. I mean, it is moving. It is
Good.
actually
That's good.
moving
I think
forward.
that's just miraculous.
Survey is happening
good.
now. So.
That's good, because there's a lot of land back there.
Yes, they're surveying
So
that now.
we can do parking. It's just now a matter of where it's going to be, I think. And what happens what's down the road with cost cutting and or relocating certain buildings.
That survey is really going to help Lee with the minute details of the land and exactly where things can go, and it's happening now.
No, I sound like I'm really focused on the details of this layout, and I'm not. Okay, I'm not that focused. I don't care where this building goes or that building goes. I really don't. As long as the buildings go somewhere. And as long as, and I'm still not 100% certain. I don't know what the final decision is going to be on the current building. Whether they're going to take it out or just take the roof off or keep it for a few more years. I don't know where they're going with that. Do you?
It'll be a council decision when the design moves forward, for sure.
Yeah.
Those are all.
I know that there's been discussion, I know that there's positions both ways on that. Of course, I think it was initially and originally this board's position to knock it down.
Exactly.
And I would hope we remain there
Well, yes.
in recommendations, but be that as it may, I really don't, I'm just not that deep into layouts, except for parking. I think that's going to be interesting. you're going to put parking? Is it going to be out in that green field where people have to walk quite a distance?
There's parking all designated on this plan.
Oh, yes.
I know there is.
Closer to the
It's right next to all the buildings.
I know there is. But again, are those buildings and the plan going to remain where they're at? And are they all going to be somewhere, or are they not all going to be somewhere? So parking, I think, has to go hand in foot with decide on the buildings. And when you start moving the buildings around or cutting buildings, then they're up to
Take some of the parking.
I don't know.
Well, I will always remind the designer if I get a chance about those initial, parking was one of the big, not working for us now.
Yes.
So,
No, everybody knows that.
those things that you're bringing up to reiterate and to remember the wishes of BORCAB.
We have a time on when this 30% phase will be presented to council?
So, I talked to Chelsea right before this, and it is due on September 30th, so it should be sometime in October that it would be.
Okay, wow, that's
So
pretty quick.
I will let you all know, Sarah will send an email out, so you all know what meeting that's going to be, so you can be there
Good.
to help answer
What
questions.
exactly does the council have to decide on that?
Say that again, Lee?
What exactly does the council have to do on that?
Well, the design has to be completed, and then they have to get approval for the next phase, because
The
it
next
has to do
phase.
with the dollar amount, so the council actually has to, and STA has to approve that next one, so then they can move forward with the design.
And is it the council's responsibility to schedule a stakeholders meeting, or is it staff, or is it BORCAB, to get another public input meeting at a certain point, and when would that be?
I have no idea. I knew when you were talking that I was not going to be able to answer that question, but I can find out for you.
Okay.
Okay.
I for sure.
Because
may
I
wanna
think the one that
recommend-
we
That would be
had was
helpful.
extraordinarily productive, and I think after that, the October meeting, it would be great during the council meeting to actually announce a scheduled, stakeholders meeting to invite the public, as Lee is saying, we need to get that input, and they'll have more information, to respond to. Right now, it's pretty nebulous, but yeah.
So I'll see if another meeting is going to take place. Time is of the essence. So to move this forward on is really important right now. So I will get a time schedule and share that with you all. And then you'll be informed on when the second STA will go for the design and things like that. Okay? So I'll find out and have Sarah send that out to you.
Well, perhaps this board should make a recommendation. The council schedule another stakeholders meeting. We obviously feel they should.
I don't think the council scheduled the first one. Didn't we schedule it?
Yes. We scheduled the
That was
first one.
part of the design and part of the planner. They wanted that meeting. I don't know how many they're going to want though, because we're moving forward and they've gotten input. So, I need to find out what the schedule is going
Protocol,
to
I
be. So
think,
let's not, I'm not promising,
protocol.
that there's going to be another one or anything, but I'll let you know when that's going to come and then I can get direction from.
I think that the council needs to either bring in or keep the public in on this.
That was what that meeting was for, Lee. We did advertise that.
I know that,
mean,
but we did that. But I think the
Well, no,
council,
I mean, it was part of the town, it was on the website, it was publicized.
nobody from the council was here, okay? There were no council people here. I believe that the council people need to meet with the stakeholders. Too often in the past,
Wasn't Rexanne here? Wasn't
Wasn't she
Yes.
here? She was in the audience. Yes, she was in the audience.
Yes,
Rexanne was
indeed.
part of the meeting.
And it was YouTubed, so they could go revisit it and
Right?
I don't know, I didn't see her examine if she was here, okay, but
she was, you could. well, she
why
had
not the
mask
whole
on.
council?
She was over on the
She was
side.
over.
Why
Right,
not the whole
exactly.
council? Why not the whole council?
I don't know sunshine law. I don't know how that works. If they're going to be voting on something and being in a,
Bring them in at a regular meeting.
yeah. Well, then that's where that came up. EMRP took that information and then relayed it to council.
Because honestly, too often in the past, this town has been, I believe, negligent keeping the public informed of what it's doing, of what it's going to do, and what's really going on.
Well, I mean, how long do you want it to be out there, Lee? I mean, really, what is your, because we advertised that months ago. Do you have a year that you want it? Because I don't know that we can do a whole year. I mean, is there a time frame? Is there something that we can go by for, because Jenny puts it out on the text.gov, and she's really doing a great job, I think, to get the information out. Is there another way that you think that we should gather information or tell people about it?
Yeah, I think that the council should invite the public, sit down with them at a regular meeting and see what they think about this.
Well, it was at the M&P, and that's where those are, but I'll get a schedule and see, what the direction is.
Not that hard, and it doesn't take that long. Meet with the public, and the next week you make your decisions and vote on accordingly, but not that hard.
And I
You'd
think
have had their
I think
input.
that's actually the plan. Once they get this next phase, then with that additional information, one more meeting can be scheduled, and then that will give us the
The
opportunity.
public can go and have public comment, and that is the venue for the council. So they discuss at M&P, which there's no public comment, but people can view how the councilors are talking about or how they, questions they have and the discussion. And then when it comes up to another meeting, that's the venue for the public to get up and do public speaking on whatever project that they would like to talk about. So that is kind of the venue of what's been moving
Exactly.
for that. So it's kind of a regular governmental, it's how the council works.
They're also free to speak at any council meeting during public comment.
Absolutely, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Oh, anytime.
That's what it's for. They can also send emails. There's all kinds of ways that they can email the council directly. There is no reason to not do that. If you have an issue about something or a question, you can email them directly.
I know advisory board reports are certainly available for regular council meetings, but judging from the schedule right now, it's probably not necessary for BORCAB to give a report simply because we did give one last month. So we now wait till this next design phase.
Right,
and
until
then-
Yeah, they'll
we have
be,
more information.
yes.
Exactly.
And there, the clerk's office has a schedule of advisory boards, and we can always move BORCAB around as needed. So that'll come out, that should be coming out soon, because they usually do for the whole year.
Right.
So I'll share that with you all, and then it's really fine that we can swap advisory boards back and forth on the schedule if you all need to be in front of council and you want to give your certain date that you're not scheduled, so it's pretty flexible.
Especially if they've got more information for us.
Yes, so that will, I'll definitely have that at the next meeting, is end of fiscal years coming up, and they always make that schedule for the next year.
Right.
So I'll let you all know.
Because we've moved those meetings around
You have.
before.
You have, yes.
And I think especially with this
And then
design and everything,
Yeah, and then Lee, I'll find out more about how the rest of the process will work and the venues that the public will have to be able to give input and have a conversation as needed. So I will definitely find that out and send it out to you
Because,
all.
I want to be clear on this. I'm concerned, because I've seen it happen in the past. You get to a place, the plan, and everybody's connected with the town. Everybody connected with the town is all giddy about it. All of a sudden, some groups start coming in. They begin to be heard in the local papers. They begin to be heard on television. They begin to raise their voice late in the game. And they can throw real monkey wrenches council with the people who got to get reelected every 3 years, seen it happen. It's happened in this town. And I just don't want that to happen in this planning, in this project. I don't want that to happen. I want this thing to go through. And I think this board and the council need to do everything they can do to see that when they say, see to it when they say, we went to the public, we talked to the public, that they really did. I don't think we're there yet.
Well, Lee, what I'm going to do is we reached out to all the stakeholders. We actively reached out to them to come to that stakeholder meeting.
understand
And we told them that if they could not come, that they could submit public comment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have Sarah compile a list that I think you all saw, but to make sure that we didn't miss anybody, because of all of our stakeholders that we have, we definitely don't want to miss anybody. So I will ask Sarah to do that, just to review and to let you know that we actively reached out to them. And if they did not have time to come to the stakeholder meeting, we offered a venue for them to bring their comments. See, Shannon sent the letter after that. I mean, they know that they have a voice, and I'll have her do that to make sure that we have actively reached out to our stakeholders.
The Jackie Lezak
Yes,
from the
she was here.
Chamber.
yes, the chamber expressed itself, Jackie Lezak, and they were very, very positive about what was
Yes.
done.
Exactly.
I mean, they're behind this, and that was reported, and people know that. The Little League apparently is, I think
They're supportive.
they're
They
supportive.
need 2 ball fields, but they're supportive.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes, and that's been reported. That's good. We can say to the people of Fort Myers Beach that, look, these 2 important organizations are behind this. What other organizations can we reach out to?
We did, the school board was there. Lee County was there, and they
Right.
spoke.
Well,
Friends of Bay Oaks was there, and they spoke. We had a few members that were there from, that spoke.
and Friends of Bay Oaks is really in reality one person. So, but the organizations, okay, I'm very glad that the Chamber of Commerce spoke in favor of this. Not everyone agrees with the Chamber of Commerce on anything.
That's true.
On anything, you know that, Betty, on anything. So, so maybe we need to spend a little time at some point figuring out, what about the women's club? How do the women of Fort Myers Beach feel about this? Maybe we need to reach out to the women's club.
Both the library.
Garden
The
Club was here.
library, garden club was
Garden
there,
club,
yes.
right.
Yeah, we did.
Were they
We
here?
sent all
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, the
Make
president was
people
here
come, you know.
of the Garden Club.
And they support us.
Of course, they want to do a butterfly garden for the new campus.
Fantastic.
You bet.
Well, I didn't know that, and that's good. See,
I didn't tell anybody until
well, you didn't, you
Until
gotta
now, it
tell the
was our
papers.
secret.
Because people need
Paula-
to know.
Paula asked me, if I would kind of keep the Garden Club up to date on what was happening, and because they definitely want to do a garden.
And the Historic
That's
Society.
wonderful.
But, unfortunately, the
Yes,
real leaders of the Historic Society are not,
I'll send them.
they're somewhat disabled right now.
Right.
And so, but the Historic Society, the Women's Club,
Did that, and they know to call us.
and
That's
we
the
have,
thing, Lee.
now see, we have, that I wasn't aware of the Garden Club or the Women's Club. We have this growing number of island organizations who are behind this. That's very important. The rest of the public needs to know that. I don't know that it's been reported.
I think we have done a great job doing that, Lee. I'm just going to tell you, we
All of the
really reached out to
organizations?
stakeholders, and I will get with the communications officer to put out more information.
Has it been in the Observer? Has the Observer, have we
Yes,
seen
they have. They
that
have
all
had-
of these organizations behind
Every
us?
time that the council mentions Bay Oaks, they do an update on the redevelopment plan.
I
Yes,
understand
they
that.
they
And
do
unfortunately,
it,
the
and they
Observer
talk
is
about-
horrible about reporting anything locally.
Exactly.
Just horrible.
It has
There's
been in
nothing.
there, so, and it's always if you want to find out more
But when
information.
they do, they get it right.
Because you can watch any meeting, anytime on YouTube, you can pull information up. If somebody wants to know about that redevelopment, the stakeholder meeting, they can pull that up and watch it. The information technology that's available now, I think, is really great. And I think that we have done a very thorough and good job of providing that venue with the email still being open and still being advertised if you ever have any questions.
See,
Public comment.
when we were scheduling that stakeholders meeting, did we all not also get that list of everybody that was going to be invited? It's in our,
It's in your meeting minutes.
files. Right, so if we have any questions.
We did all of our members for the recreation campus, all of our stakeholders, all of our organizations.
Bay Oaks Social
Exactly.
Seniors,
Exactly, and then the
everybody.
communication officer continues to make sure that people know that we have the email and that if they have any comments, and so it continues to be out there. I think with the COVID and everything, it has been, people physically aren't able, we have great ways for people to communicate. So I feel that we have done and continue to do a great.
Agreed, I do.
Wouldn't it be a good time after the 30% design is improved? A good time to have a very nice article in the Observer explaining the design. Would you be brave enough to do a poll also about the future of Bay Oaks and the redevelopment, or is it too
Hasn't that
soon?
already been done? Wasn't that done with the taxpayers?
In 2017, yeah.
Right.
It was, they were surprised
Yes.
Favorable.
by the
And that was
80%
positive.
approval.
Yeah. So the design is going to continue to move forward, everybody. I'm just going to tell you this. There's going to be a time that we're not going to go back and redo and do things twice. I'm just going to be perfectly honest with you. I think we've done a great job. People can continue their input, be at town council meetings, but this is going to move forward, because if it does not, it's not going to happen. And the loan goes out October 1. We have funding. The council approved that. We are full
Right.
steam
Unanimous.
ahead.
Unanimous.
So I really want us to focus on the design developments going through, and I'll keep you informed with all of the information that comes out to the council meetings. And anything else that you have asked, I will definitely send out information. So I think
Are you done with your board comment? I have nothing to report, so.
No, I was just going to say, though, that I think that part of Lee's frustration, and I think it's true of all of us, we've worked with this, and so we're familiar with it, and we've made all these adjustments, and in moving those fields, we thought that we were really doing what those folks would want us to be doing, whether it is the Little League or the soccer group or whatever. We really felt that we were doing the right thing. And I think that in our hearts, we probably still feel that way. And then they start talking about, well, maybe, do we really need 3 buildings? And so there was much other input. Speak of your parking. We had 200 spots right in that one place. Well, then under the buildings, we had wanted parking too.
that would be closer, accessible.
Right. And so, I think that we, in our minds, have worked with it for so long, we feel that everybody else has that kind of knowledge we have. And that isn't true.
Yeah.
And so we still have to work at that. And I think that that's our job as we discuss things around the community. You run into somebody from a group that may not have understood exactly what we wanted. I mean, why did you want that lot out there? I mean, is that, we wanted the exposure.
Is
And
that something that Jennifer, our communications person, can be? I mean, is that a role that she would have for getting that word out in terms of what has already been voted on by
Yeah.
both council and
Yes, she
BORCAB?
was going to, I have to talk with her, But yes, to kind of have a little bullet fact sheet.
Right,
about the
okay,
project
yeah,
and
yeah.
what's happened and kind of, so yes, I think that
So
that
there's a
is
consistent
something-
message, and
Yes.
because she is the
Yeah, she definitely
spokesperson.
wants to make sure there's a consistent message with the process, so anybody that has a question about it, but I can reach out to her and see about the redevelopment, but it's definitely up there with the Times Square and the Bayside, so yeah, I'll talk to her about doing that.
Bayside's still on the agenda?
I don't know, Lee, I'm not, that would be a Chelsea question, but I know that she'll be glad to.
Okay. All right, did you have
Answer that
anything?
No,
Okay.
I have nothing to report.
All right.
Well, I gave you my news already, but as I say, the head of the garden club, the president was here, and she's definitely interested in doing a butterfly garden. I don't know when to,
Yeah, it will know more information soon, Becky, sorry
I
about
thought that would be pretty far down the line, but, and I'm sure there will be some space somewhere
Absolutely,
for
there's
a
definitely going
garden,
to be.
so.
Yes, and we've just planted on a side note, this has nothing to do with
That would be
really
nice,
with
Becky, if they did.
the,
The garden club, like the Historic Society, historically has been pretty much left out of things with the town. I would like to see that change, and maybe it can be changed with the new Bay Oaks.
And I just got good news this morning, or maybe I got it yesterday, that the preserve is going to be open as of tomorrow.
oh,
There was a little walkthrough on Saturday, and
great news.
it's going to be great. It really
Nice.
is. I mean, it's outstanding. And that is going to open that area again for the historic. I mean, that has had to be closed because the road was closed
Right,
back there.
right.
People couldn't get back there, they couldn't park, they were just stymied. And to have all that barricade up, and now to have this opening, and I understand it's tomorrow, or the 2nd is the official opening of the
Very
preserve.
nice.
So,
It's wonderful, Betty,
Yeah.
thanks for sharing.
I thought that was good news. Our group is meeting, I think probably within the next week or 10 days to get together, and thought it would be a great place to meet, right down there in the preserve now. And we certainly have the social distancing in that area, because that park area and the pictures, I
Where would you meet?
pardon,
Where?
at the preserve,
Where in
at
the preserve?
Matanzas Preserve.
Where in the preserve?
Well, they've got that, in the front, they've got an area they have improved and made benches, and along the pathway and out to the, let's see,
Pavilion?
yeah, to the pavilion, but then there's an area that you can actually go down into the water, or right at the water's edge. So hopefully they're going to have some pictures, and we'll have something in the paper within the next day or so. Like I say, tomorrow is supposed to be the opening, so.
Do you think we should meet there?
Pardon?
You think we should meet there?
I would think so. Why not?
Talking about the Historic Society now.
Yeah.
This group,
Huh?
not this group.
No,
No,
but the historic.
it's the Historic Society she's
Get
talking
that
about.
open again,
You didn't mention.
Yeah.
and get that exposure. Because it's just been closed down since March. I mean, there's been nothing. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else have any under board member items? Okay, our future meeting will be October 6th at 9 a.m. And, that sounds like a long time away, but if you have something, and
will,
I know
Betty, for
that
sure.
Allison will let us know, and we can have a called meeting at any time to be able to discuss
Yes.
something that has come up that's important.
I'll get some information for Lee and for the rest of the board on some of the questions that came up. So I'll make sure to have homework and do that get that out to you all as well.
When do we meet next?
October 6th.
October 6th.
When's the next council meeting?
Oh, there's one Thursday,
M&T,
the
that's a
management, and then
management
the
planning.
10th, I believe, is,
10th at 5:01 and the 21st at 5:01.
that one, is that also on the budget?
Yes, the 10th and the 21st will be the first reading of the budget, and the second reading will be,
Yeah, and that's why it had to be at 5:01.
right.
Okay. All right. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move, Barbara Hill.
Okay. Barb, and do we have a second to that?
Second.
Okay, Lee, thank you. We are adjourned at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you for the strategic plan update, Allison. It looks great.